Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Snom. Today's hosts are Corey Cather and Justin Roth. They are both channel account managers for the company, and they will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, them in the question box, and so that Corey and or Justin can answer them at the end of today's presentation. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being with us today. Greatly appreciate it. I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for having us. Today we will introduce you to some new Snom products that we have and do a quick overview of the current line as well. So I also have with me today Justin Roth, who is here to help as well, and he will cover a lot of the wireless products and some of the other like public address and conference phone and accessory products as well. So real quick, just wanted to go through some of our current products that we know and love. All of our Snom phones, are carry a 3-year warranty, advanced exchange warranty, which is unique in the industry. They're very solid, very very well built. The look and feel is tremendous. But one of the things that is a little bit different for us is really our support, and we have North American sales and support here that you can access. Real quick, we have the D785, D785N, which is our higher end model with a secondary screen. We have our D735, which has a smaller screen, but quite a bit more in the way of programmable keys. And then we have our 717 and 713 models, which are more economic color screen models. These are phones that have been out for a few years now, and that you know and love. One of the things you have on here is the 717, 735, and 785 do have a USB port that you can plug in our A210 Wi-Fi USB dongle. Obviously, we do sell the power supply that would power them as well. The 713 is the model that does not have a USB port, but all the other models with a USB port you can plug in the dongle into. We also have the D7C, which is the color side screen now. The D7C, you can daisy chain, well, you can plug in one with the power supply, whether it's PoE or power supply from the phone itself. If you go to a second or third sidecar, you would need to add an additional power supply to that. But what it does do is gives you obviously multiple screens to cover a much larger network if you needed to be able to see all the status of all the phones in the chain. One of the new models that we wanted to touch on here is the D140 and D150. It's a more base model that matches the same look and feel as our other 700 series. Just simply 2 programmable keys. Again, has a 3-year advanced exchange warranty, 2 SIP accounts. The difference between the D140 and 150 really comes down to the gig E pass-through on the 150 versus the 10100 on the 140. Both models obviously are monochrome, but again, they have the electronic hook switch, which is also relevant in the D700 series. There is a base model, which is a D120. That model has a mechanical hook switch. So to give you an example of where this is relevant is we recently are working with a customer who's putting this in a wood shop, for example, and where they're going to put this in, there's a lot of dust. Having something like the sensor hook switch, electronic hook switch is much more valuable than having a mechanical hook switch. So depending on your price point, where you're looking at, there's some other options at the entry level. And for example, the D140 and D150 were recently certified on the latest version of 3CX. So those are ready to go on 3CX as well. So coming soon, we've got a new look on the 800 series here. We've got 3 models that will be released on this series. It's going to have a much larger screen, much larger buttons, much larger layout. The basics and the difference here are going to be there's an 810, which is a smaller screen that'll be coming out later this year. It will also have a USB port. The D812, again, you go up to the larger 5-inch screen with more function keys on it. You'll have 4 on each side of the screen. And when you go up to the 815, that will have built-in Wi-Fi, and it will have, again, the 5-inch screen. The D8C, again, will be coming a little bit later, but that one is the sidecar that will match these phones.
One other thing I wanted to add in there too, with all of our phones, that it's a 3-year warranty, which no one else in the industry has, and it's also advanced replacement. So if there's a failure out in the field, that we will ship a new phone out to them, and then just send a shipping label to return the defective product back to us. And it's a much simpler process through our support to get replacement product.
That's an excellent point. And even though I tend to skim over that or say it quick, but it's pretty important. Obviously, one of the things that they do, our support team will even troubleshoot, right? So if it's something they can help you with, they'll get it resolved there. But if they need to do an exchange, it is an advanced exchange, so they will be able to send you one to limit your downtime. So these, obviously, I blew through real fast here, but these come down to the size of the screen and whether it has Wi-Fi or not. And on that note, I have invited, and I'll out myself here, I had some back difficulties today, so I've invited Justin to do some heavy lifting for me and help with the presentation on the Wi-Fi. So Justin, I appreciate you helping out and jumping in today. If you've got time here, Justin, I'll have you go over the conference phones and the wireless phones as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a full lineup of devices. So not only the desk phones, but we also have a conference phone, which is the C620, which it's a decked conference phone. So no need to worry if there's conference tables where there's not cable runs. And it's also priced much lower than the other, comparable decked conference phones out there. And decked is really where Snom has a really strong background in and a better lineup as far as wireless products in general than any other of the SIP phone manufacturers. The decked pucks that are also on that are wireless, so that you can get a full conference room coverage out of it. You can also add on that extension, which is meant you can add up to 2 of those. So if it's a larger conference room, not that there's a whole lot of conference phones being sold at this point, but there definitely still are some. So it is something that we do offer. And then on the next screen, one of our most sold popular products is the PA1 Plus. So the PA1 Plus, the PA1 was out for a long time. This is just an updated version of it that allows you to be able to do the latest TLS. It also added in a couple little things, an improvement in the amplifier that's built in. This is really ideal for if you're going into a location that has an existing PA system where it's an older setup and you're wanting to connect it into a hosted environment. That this is the easiest solution, most straightforward to be able to use those old analog speakers and be able to add on an extension when that's being sold. And it is gigabit pass through, so you can power if needed a security camera or anything like that. Next, we'll talk about the headsets real quick. We do, like I said, full lineup. We do make headsets. We're not a headset company, but these are decent headsets at a good price and a good value. So this is the A100, just basic headsets for to plug into RJ45. One of our newest models is the A330, which comes in a monochrome single earpiece or dual, and that it is USB, so it will plug into USB on a computer or into the phone, and it will work with any of the video applications also out there. And there is a button right on that separate controller on that wire to be able to hang up a call, which is a nice little feature. These feel really nice in your hands. It's a well-built product. It doesn't feel cheap, and it's priced great. And if it's it's going to be less expensive than a lot of the comparables from the bigger headset names out there. And there's also, in addition to that first A100 series that I was talking about that uses an RJ45, that we have an updated version that looks just like these 330s. If you want to go to the next one, Corey. Well, we also have a Bluetooth headset coming soon. It'll be around the time that you'll see the full lineup of those D800s. That is a Bluetooth headset, and it's going to be priced great, probably under $100 type of price point. And it'll work for any of the applications that you're typically using a headset for, whether it's just directly with the phone or if it's video conferencing. Busy light on there, bright, well built, and then these are also part of the same as those A330s, but the plug's different so that it's an RJ9 quick release on there. And so it's really meant as the updated for the A100s, where it's using that connection of the RJ9 on the phones. And then we have out a A170. This is a decked headset, so the range is going to be a lot longer on it. It's an updated version of a headset that we made for a while. Snom is owned by VTech. VTech's a very large manufacturer in a lot of different businesses and made a similar headset that was adapted to the Snom lineup. This does have hot swappable batteries on there, so it does give enough talk time if somebody's on the phone all day to be able to stay on the phone and not have a headset that is dead. Pretty good audio quality. It does come with multiple headset options as far as the way that it's actually attaching to your head based on comfort. And all of these products, do have, warranty included with them, which is one of the big differences with
And
Snom.
as one knows, can say, as obviously we have a lot of experience in manufacturing, and specifically in manufacturing headsets. We just have not had a large offering on the Snom side, so you'll see more and more quality options that will be available here coming very soon.
Yeah, and if you don't need those advanced analytics and things like that are in a Jabra or Poly HP Plantronics headset, that's an ideal solution if you're looking for something cost effective, especially if they're using Snom phones. And like I was talking about, the decked is really our specialty and where we really shine. It's hard to differentiate in a desk phone because they all do have similar functionality. But with decked, there's definitely some differences, and there's a lot of popularity into Wi-Fi handsets. But that gets into a lot of different things if you're not managing the actual network and doing the wireless, that it makes it more complex. Also, as over time, if there are more clients added to those specific, Wi-Fi access points, that it can affect the voice quality, and it's much more difficult to have QoS and manage that type of voice service that people expect when running a business using VoIP on a Wi-Fi handset versus decked, where it's dedicated frequency for voice, and you're not going to have that interference. It's also more secure. So you set it up and you're kind of done with it then. Also, that there's better battery life in using decked. And if you want to, so as far as we have multiple different options depending on the application for our deck solutions. So the M100 is just meant as a single base. It's very popular for installs within smaller businesses, SMB, or where you just need a single handset in a business. But it does also have a 4-line key buttons on the handsets, which I'll show you a little bit later, which kind of gives it the a key system functionality to it. And same with our M500 product, and we'll get more into that. The M400, we market as a single base, but it's actually dual cell. So it gives you a little bit more as far as being able to expand to a greater number of handsets and cover a larger area, but it doesn't have that key system functionality to it. The M900 is our enterprise product, so it'll scale very large. If you're talking about doing a large warehouse or manufacturing facility, that these are used in a lot of plants. For manufacturing ice cream is one brand that just recently installed a lot of the M900 product. And there's various different handset options that can get, a very affordable price all the way up to handsets that are ruggedized and medical grade, antibacterial, antimicrobial. So the M100 that I was talking about, that it's a basic low cost handsets with it, which is really nice. There's a large retail chain that uses these, and they buy replacement phones by the pallet because they tend to lose them, that they put them on top of customers' cars and customers' bags when they're checking out. So they have to replace handsets a lot. So this is an ideal solution. And it also has an affordable, that M10R is a ruggedized phone. The other big difference with our DECT, that retail customer had a different solution, and they had to use a lot of repeaters with that solution, but there were a lot of dead spots still. And with the M100, it did give them a little bit better coverage. It does also have a option for that M18, which is a desk phone. Now, they aren't the most current looking with that M18 having a DESI strip, but they're very affordable of a solution if they're looking for function out of it, and that functionality matters more than the looks. Then this is an ideal type of solution. The M400, just basic. Like I said, we market it as a single cell, but it will expand up to dual cell. And you can use all the same handsets that you see down there, the various handset options that I was mentioning that go with the M900. It's the same handsets available for that M400. The M400 is also certified for 3CX.
And it's just an evolution of what was, if you're familiar with the M700, which was an older series or older base, if you will. They're part of the same series.
Also of the M325. So if you were using that
Exactly.
M325, it's a direct replacement to that. It just adds the dual cell capabilities onto there, and it's not sold bundled with a handset, so you're able to choose what handsets that you want with it. And this is one of our newer products, which is really unique, the M500. So it is almost kind of like a second generation of the M100. So it does give the updated look of the handsets. That M58, it looks and feels like a normal SIP desk phone, and to an end user, it's going to look and function the same way. It's got all the same type of buttons. There's a transfer button and so forth on it. It is a 5-inch color screen, and it has, you know, a nice weight to it, and it just same exact function to them. As far as bases, you can do it in single cell or dual cell, and you can do up to 16 phones on the M500 system. If you notice on the images, they're kind of small on the M55 and M56, but they have 6 line keys on there. So it will do the old key system functionality. So like the old NECs, Toshibas, and that you can actually have it ring in. So ideal for restaurants, fast casual, a florist shop, retail, any of those types of businesses, where when one line rings in, all of the phones ring. And if you get a call and you're trying, to get it directly over to, someone else, that somebody can yell, "Hey Jim, you have a call on line 3." Line 3 indicates that there's a call, that it will have green if it's ringing in. It'll be red if it's a busy line. It'll be flashing red if it's on hold. So it makes managing the phone system much easier than advanced call park in those simple businesses, especially where there's a high turnover, and training people on a phone system is awfully difficult. And if you drop calls, say in that restaurant business, you're losing carryout orders, and oftentimes you lose that customer permanently. So this is a great product in those situations. It's just a simple solution, especially for those people that may be hanging on to their old, analog copper lines, those POT systems.
And just to follow up, I was going to say, obviously the key line emulation is important. It's critical. It's kind of what makes this special. But the phones can be used as a normal DECT endpoint with every phone being its own number. In other words, it's flexible. You can program those keys as shared key lines basically, or as different functions, or for each one to be their own independent line, or each phone can have its own endpoint and also share lines. So it's flexible in how you set it up through the web UI.
Yeah, you can't have it as a private extension. You can also set up those keys just as speed dials. And one other function that is completely unique to this that we actually patented is this DECT busy monitoring. So this is just a way to have a BLF inner system on the M500, which is the first phone that is DECT that has a BLF function to it. So say that you have a manager, and the employees need to be able to know when they're on the phone, that you can have that indication, which you can see in the screen on the top image there, that you can see shop 2 is idle, and then on the lower image at the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that shop 2 is now on a call. And you can do that across both the cordless phones and the desk sets in the system. And so, as far as like we were talking about, that it can be single base or dual base. In single base, you can do up to 10 phones, dual base up to 16. And that can be set up for density or for coverage, depending on what you need. It can be set up if there's standard networking available, or if there's not, that you can daisy chain the 2 bases together. So making it easier, especially if somewhere you're converting over from a POTS line. This image just gives you a look as to what it looks like to program those keys on that M58, so that you have those, what we call a line key, we call it a PFK, is the term that we use for it. It's a programmable function key. So this is what the interface looks like on the M58 desk phone. And if you go to the next one, show you a real, and it's a very similar look on the M55. This is our M900 product. So this did replace directly that M700, but it scales to a larger scale. So 1,000 base stations, and it works as a mesh network. So you can, somebody can roam from place to place with these phones. And the handsets go from the M30, which is just a cost-effective, all the way up to the M90, which has Bluetooth built in, antibacterial, antimicrobial, with a sealed keypad. We are oftentimes seeing those installed into medical environments, such as assisted living facilities, using the M90 handset. And also with any of these also do include that same 3-year warranty with the advanced replacement. This just gives an idea of what a campus environment would look like. One other product that we've just recently released for the M900 is an outdoor base station, which, if there's separation in between buildings and some distance, instead of having to have them set up as whole separate networks, that makes it easier to be able to connect them. Also for, say, applications like RV parks, car lots, that then you can get some outdoor coverage, or even into stadiums and types of deployments like that. It's very useful. And one of the other unique things about our
forward real quick, that's the outdoor unit there. So, but yeah, I'll skip back here.
So, and one of the other unique parts of our M900 is that it has a site survey mode, which is really easy to put the phones into, and it gives you an idea of where to best place those bases that would give you coverage, so that you don't end up with dead spots or where it's dropping calls. And there's guidance as to what the numbers need to be. It's a very simple, straightforward process. And this is showing the full lineup of various handsets, which range from like that M85, which has a man down button and Bluetooth, and it's ruggedized. So it depends on the application, what you need. And of course, the pricing varies on which ones. The smaller ones, the M90 all the way through that M30, are a little bit smaller in size. So they're about the size of the old Nokia bar phone cell phones that were popular way back, where the M65 and M85 are larger. And we've done deployments that were larger just for recently in some trade shows for IT Expo, where it covered the whole conference center for the employees to be able to talk and use the walkie-talkie function of the M900 product. This is just some helpful links. SRAPS is our redirect server, so to be able to provision the phones easier. And then our service hub is our wiki, so all the information on our products, and of course our website and support, which you can also email, or you can open online tickets or call. It is all based in North America, that they're all actually based out of Canada. So if anybody's ever dealt with anybody in Canada, they tend to be the most friendly, nice people to deal with. And then mine and Corey's contact information if you did need to reach out and get any help with anything, or need more detailed information about a product.
Thank you, Justin. So I think that pretty much covers it here as well. So I think we're at the point where if you have questions, we're happy to answer them. Justin and I have a pretty good knowledge of the product. I don't unfortunately have a technical contact on the call today, so we don't have our sales engineer as we sometimes do. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask them, even if they're technical. And if I don't have an answer, or we don't have an answer, we will get back to you on that as well. Thank you, Julie. I think that wraps up our presentation.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Corey and Justin, for that wonderful presentation. Enjoyed it very much. And I do have questions from the audience. Let's get started with the first one. Here we go. What type of businesses or environments are best suited for the D7 series phones?
So the 700 series is really any. I mean, they are a standard SIP phone, and they're certified on most all platforms. So the D700 series, it really comes down to which one suits the needs for your clients. Our big advantage is really is build quality, stability, and price point too. You're going to see they're very competitive price point, but really we with our San Antonio warehouse and our readily available stock, those are kind of our big advantages. But I would say the function keys for how many programmable keys you get, for the flexibility of the phone, there's some nice advantages to the D700 series, but there's really no limit and target market, because it really will go in any small, medium, large business. Some of the deck product, you get a little more specific into where they might best fit, but I think in the D700 series, it's wide open. Justin, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, it scales all the way from enterprise down to one user. So there's not really a specific target market. I mean, you're not usually putting physical handsets often into call centers, but that does occasionally happen.
So everywhere is our answer. Put Snom phones everywhere.
Excellent. Excellent answer, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go on to the next question I have here for you. Here we go. Are there customizable options for the interface or display?
So you can customize the display on the D7 series and the D8 series that are coming. On the M58, it is limited to a couple of themes, so you can't put a custom image on that. One big difference too as far as customization, that VTech does a significant amount of private manufacturing. So everything from phones to headsets to medical devices, that we do a lot of just manufacturing in general. We're actually the third largest phone manufacturer in the world, and very large as far as that end of things goes. But we've done a lot of private labeling with phones over the years, where we've put branding of other brands onto there, say service providers or somebody who has their own brand. But with the D8 series phones, that faceplate's actually magnetic, and there's just a little spot, and it's hard to kind of see in the image, but at the top left hand of the screen, that there's a little hole there that you can just slide a pen into or a pin and pop off the screen. It doesn't come off easy because it's magnetic, but it's fairly easy to get off. And as most screens, that bezel is attached with 3M tape type of product, two-sided tape. This is not, so it's that magnetic part, and it goes into there. But we're going to sell blanks, which you will be able to have custom printed with, say, an end user's brand on it, or if it was a Joe's phone company, whatever you wanted printed on there, to be able to have your own branded phones.
So these, to follow up on that, these will have in quantities of, I don't know if it's fully determined yet, but I believe as small as 5. So you'll be able to buy 5 blank ones and print yours or the customer's names on there. But that will be more flexible in the quantity. To Justin's point, we can customize anything to a point, right? So we have built these with different folks' names on them. There would be a minimum order quantity, so whether it's 500 or 1,000 or whatever the case might be, just reach out to us if you have an interest. But it can go to different levels too, because there's also the front. We can even do software, but obviously there's some custom costs with that as well. But with the D800 series, it will be easy to do it on a smaller scale basis, but obviously we can also do larger scale as well.
Yeah, and it'll be at a nominal cost as far as being able to purchase those faceplates. But the big thing is that then you're not having to put money out in advance for phones because you're just buying the faceplates and having them printed. So it makes it a much simpler, easier process than having to buy hundreds or thousands of phones to be able to do custom branding, which hasn't been possible in the past.
It's a great question. I'm glad that came up, actually.
Thank you guys so much. And I've got another question here for you. Let's go with it. Let's see. How do these phones handle echo cancellation and noise reduction?
I don't know if I have a good technical answer for that, Justin. Have you, you know, we definitely do all the testing in our lab. I don't know that we've printed the technical certification of what it has.
So there is some noise suppression on there, but it's just a standard. There's not advanced software on any of our phones currently to have that noise cancellation that say is on some of the other competitive products out there, where if it's in a noisy environment that it'll block out, you know, a whole lot of noise on that will be added later on down the road on the D815 and the D8 series phones, that we do have our own custom branding that will come out with it, and it will just be a firmware upgrade that will include that, where it will cancel out all of that background noise if it's, say, being placed into a noisy environment. But currently our phones just have the basic noise suppression type of system on it, that it's not advanced where it's pulling the background noise and canceling that out.
Excellent. Thanks, guys, for that. A couple more questions here. Next one says, are there specific PBX systems or software that the D7 series is optimized for?
So they are certified for all the major platforms. So 3CX, Metaswitch, BroadSoft, that they are in the certified for Vodia, various other NetSapiens, and any of the major platforms, and then some of the larger providers out there that it depends on the platform as to their level of certification. Like it has basic certification for Zoom, for example, and for RingCentral, but not the more advanced certification levels for those.
Thank you so much for that, guys. Couple more questions left here. Next one says, are there any limitations or requirements for using the D7C modules?
No, there's no limitation to be able to use it. You just need one of the phones that have the USB port on it, because it does connect via USB. So that would be the D717, 735, or 785. There also is another model that is coming out, the D787, which is identical virtually to the 785, but it just has Wi-Fi instead of Bluetooth. But you can add up to 3 to any model of our phones that have a USB port on there. You just need an external power source to supply our AC power adapter for the second and third screens.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Here we go. Next question. How frequently are software and firmware updates released for the D7 series?
It's fairly frequent, and it depends that there's always, small updates that are coming, and it depends on, I guess, the time period, because that's reactionary to, say, maybe some stuff that's going on out in the external environments that can affect when you're getting into security of phones. But it's typically almost monthly to every other month that there are new releases, but oftentimes those are small incremental jumps in features or fixes within the firmware. And then you typically have larger ones, which every, I would say, 6 to 9 months. Does that sound about accurate, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, it does vary greatly, right? But I think you're in the ballpark for sure.
Yeah, each to give, I guess, the closest, but it depends on the time period that you're looking at, I guess. But there's not like set release dates for the firmware.
Got it. So much. Last question. Can you give us an overview on your product warranties? I know there might be different levels or different things that people may purchase will have different warranties. Can you touch on that for us?
I can start that, and Justin, just if chime in if there's anything I missed here. But the phones themselves, right? Which includes the decked product, which includes any of the desk sets. It's a 3-year advanced exchange warranty. So all the phones themselves, like anything you would be talking through, would have a 3-year warranty. The accessories, generally speaking, are not going to be 3-year. They are generally going to be a 1-year warranty. It does vary somewhat, but it's the accessories being like a headset, things like that. So, but all of the phones themselves are 3-year. And again, we have phone support and we have help desk support. So you can, as a partner, or even have your customer call. There's a phone number they can call, or a help desk ticket they can fill out for support. In which case, again, they can troubleshoot, or if it's found to be defective, they'll just simply set up an advanced replacement. So, Justin, if I missed anything else there, let me know.
No, I think you got everything covered there.
Corey, Justin, thank you guys so much for answering all of those questions for us today. And thank you to everyone attending today's webinar. And if anyone still has any further questions, please feel free to contact your sales rep here or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned and shown here today, please remember that this webinar presentation has been recorded and you will be able to upload it. We will upload it to our Microcom YouTube channel so we can all view it again. You guys, thank you for your time today. Greatly appreciate it. I'm going to touch base with you for another update, another presentation, perhaps later in 2024. Looking forward to talking to you guys again. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.